The role men play in society is very confusing because at the same time, we are expected to be these people with all these privilege and these abilities and we can do all these things. But at the same time, we're also losers and lonely and there are no man problems. I find it confusing because I'm just trying to live my life. That's really all I'm trying to do is live my life. I'm not trying to be some patriarch. I'm really not. And I'm also trying to deal with these problems that we have to deal with. Loneliness, isolation, confusion. Like these are things that in one way, shape, or form, you know, men have to deal with. Women have to deal with this stuff too, don't get me wrong, but last time I checked, I'm not a woman. I haven't been inducted into the woman draft. The NBA draft has called me up. The NHL draft has called me up. The MLB draft has called me up. Yeah, heck, even the NFL, like all these professional sports teams. But the Women Association hasn't called me to draft me into womanhood, so I can't speak on womanhood. It's weird because I hear opposing messaging when it comes to being a man. I hear that, oh my, like, we're on fire and there's all these problems. And then I hear that if you address the problems, you're some right wing radical. If you ignore the problems, you're some blue pilled, simp, progressive woke. And I just don't know. I don't know like what to do about all this. It's something where you go to school and then your life kind of gets turned upside down because you either go to college or you don't go to college, you start working, you don't start working, you play Fortnite, you do all these things. And, I always thought that, like, okay, like, there would be some kind of structure, there would be some kind of, this is what you need to do. And different people are going to tell you different things. If you go to a church, they're going to tell you how to be a man. If you go to therapy, they'll tell you how to be a something. If you go on YouTube, it'll tell you a lot of things. If you go on TikTok, depending on where you go for these answers, because definitely I have them. I have the answer of what it means to be a man, what it means to have the solutions. Definitely watching this video will, make masculinity, being a man, male, just make so much more sense. Because come on, I have all the answers. ChatGPT comes to me for answers. I always thought that, it's like, I'm getting older, I'm gonna figure stuff out. And if anything, I felt like when I was an accounting intern, when I was in college, well, I still am in college. Back when I was, 21 or 20, I thought I knew more things. I thought I figured it out, but it's just with time, I've realized that it gets more and more confusing in some ways. But then at the same time, I've had more peace. I've had more peace recognizing that I don't have the answers and that this man thing that I inhabit, maybe I should, just get rid of gender. There is no gender. There's nothing, we're just specks of dust floating, that would just solve all my questions. I always thought that, like, okay, I'm gonna, once I get a certain amount of income, once I get a relationship, once I get this car, or live in this zip code, or live in this city, or if I travel to Italy, something, I don't know why, but everyone's got to travel to Italy, and that's when they find themselves. But I have none of that stuff, I don't have any of that, so I'm just left with a bunch of questions. I'm left with a bunch of questions that I don't have answers to. I was told we're supposed to have flying cars by now. Where are the flying cars? Like, come on. So if we don't have flying cars, how am I supposed to answer what's the point of being a man? What is a man? What is gender? Just throw it all away. Let's deconstruct everything. I think that the biggest confusion is it's like at the same time men have all these problems: unemployment, loneliness, mental health. And trust me, unemployment, that's me. Loneliness, that's me. Mental health, that's me. But then also at the same time, You hear people saying, oh, we're privileged and this and that we need to like, this. And I'm not denying like male privilege. I'm not denying that at all. But at least the way I live my life, I don't feel privileged. I don't feel privileged applying for 100 jobs. I don't feel privileged getting ghosted by women or getting ghosted by, men ghost me too. I don't feel privileged getting ghosted in friendships or romantic. Like, I don't feel privileged struggling in school. I'm not saying other people aren't, but at least in my personal life, I don't feel it. Now, yes, there probably are some benefits I have received being a man. Like, I'm not denying that. But I'm also a minority. Like, I'm black in America, or at least I got black skin, because your boy's melanated. So that probably confuses things. So when I hear the statement like male privilege, I'm not denying it, but in my experience, I don't feel like I started ahead significantly. I feel like I just started like everybody else. But like I said, that's just my limited experience. I'm free to hear criticisms or other views of maybe I am advantaged. I'm very blessed to have a place to stay and food in my belly, so I count my blessings. But yeah, it's interesting when I hear like, oh, men this, men that, like because men have done this or men have done that. And when you really look at history, being a man, being a woman, just living in general, if you're a woman, you're treated like cattle for most of history. I want to end on this. These problems aren't going to go away anytime soon. Sadly, AI won't solve these problems. AI might take your job away. It isn't going to give you a purpose in life. And I just want to realize that, for me, being a man, para mí, as you say in Espanol, para mí, being a man is confusing. I don't have the answers and I don't know. And obviously, yes, I feel like I always have to put this disclaimer. Yes, me acknowledging that men's lives are confusing is not denying the struggles that women go through. It's just I'm not a woman, so I can't take on that perspective. But shout out to the there's like 6% of y'all that watch. So to the 6% woman, I hear you, I feel you, and I love you. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to say that. I don't care how weird that sounds. I love you, okay? But, no, but for me, I'm going to go into 2026 a little confused, extremely insecure, but very grateful. Thank you. I'll have I don't even know how the next few days are going to do for uploading. But yeah, I just want to just say thank you. Thank you for people who are listening. Thank you for 2025. I'll I'll see y'all soon. Thank you so much for watching. If you like, please like and subscribe. My socials are somewhere, and you guys, if it's, I think this is getting released on Christmas Eve, so enjoy Christmas Eve if you celebrate. And if you don't, happy holidays. But if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Christmas to the British people, because you don't say Happy Holidays in the UK. You say Happy Christmas.